out and it didn't work the way I wanted it to. So let's see who we got coming in here. I'm gonna open up the chat window. All right, so standard screen. Just give it a minute here for everybody to show up. Anyway, we're going to start it right off from the beginning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Matt. This is Berserker Gang 2019, and it's all about Viking Age blacksmithing and woodworking and outdoor resources gathering and making projects of the Viking Age. So this is a pretty cool adventure that we're on here, and I'd like you to join me. So we have one live guest already in the chat today. So let's see who this might be. You can find the chat. Okay, now that's over here. Okay, we have somewhere. Go away. Trying to find the button. Is this the one I use usually? Okay, somebody just clicked that. There it is. I found it. Something's happening here. I don't like that. Okay. There you go. Ah, here we go. There we go. I found it. Okay. So something up. I think the chat is lagging, maybe. I've got 5 people watching. Okay, it's still trying to load. What's going on here? I hate this. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think it's working. It's trying to catch up. Something happening here. The channel is what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're back. So we got 3, 4. Well, today's stream, I'm kind of going to take questions about the Viking Age and blacksmith work and anything related in that topic. I can see you. Yes, I hope so, because it says we're stuck at 2 minutes and 22. Okay. Well, let's just keep 3 minutes in. It's a bit slow today, but I have a good internet quality. It should be able to work. I'm trying to figure out the full screen thing here. Now we don't have a chat. Oh boy. Okay, I don't like that. What about this one? That looks good. Okay, so. All right, it's very hot today. Oh my, it's like 40 degrees Celsius. That's super hot for Germany. I mean, that's like summertime, like you wouldn't believe. Hello, Sean. Welcome. Alrighty, folk. Mike S. And we have, let's see who we have here today. Dutch Lion Prepping. Stone Wolf Outdoors. Welcome. Alrighty, folk. And Tricky Who. Curtis Miller. Welcome, my friend. Luke and Mum. All right. We have all the usual suspects. Yeah, it's pretty warm in here today. And this morning, I was pretty much busy with the bees here up until... Yeah, but it's more about a blacksmithing question and answer that I promised to do a couple of here last live stream. Any like questions on if anybody's interested? It's kind of unprepared, but I do want to start doing more of those so that people can get the information they need to get it to satisfy their intellect. All right, what we got here? Next week, you're going to a festival gathering called Green Spirits. Oh, that's really cool. I have actually that you said that. This is a really cool. See, I don't wear jewelry at all, but this is a very special. This is a Thor's hammer replica. It's Thor's hammers that they found from 600, the year 600 something. So it's pretty cool. So it's that old, and this is real silver, and so I wear that from time to time. Wow, cool. Dragons are. When I make my flint strikers, I usually say it's a dragon scales because it's got some of the crosshatch pattern from the actual file still on them, and people are thinking it's 10 times cooler when you sell them like that. They usually like that. How did the Vikings make their anvils? It's a good question. Viking anvils. I probably could show you one. I have something. If you just want to hold out just for a second, I'll go run over. It's right over here. I'll go grab it real quick. All right, I thought I had lost it there for a minute. It's at the very bottom of my toolbox because I never use it. This is a Viking age-ish correct stump anvil. This is what the average Viking blacksmith had. Now, there's also another version of this, it's a little bit rusty, with like a little pointy part right here, so you could do roundings on things. But this was the average blacksmith's anvil. Now, in trading sites, this one's actually about 100 years old already. This is pretty cool. This is an antique, and it's in very mint condition. And I very rarely use it because it's only for reenactment purposes. If I work in the shop, of course, I want to use somewhat of the best modern, the last 100 years or so modern equipment I could get. The anvil, of course, as big as possible. I'm gonna put this down. It's very heavy. It weighs about 5 kilograms, maybe. That's in that area there. That's about as historically correct of an anvil that I have to show you. And there were hook bill anvils, like they had a point at 90 degrees, and then they had anvils like this with a little tiny point. So that's a mini anvil. Yeah, and the average blacksmith didn't have like in that I don't know what's going on. I hope you all are still there. Something's going on with the live stream. Yeah, but that's about as big of an anvil as you would get. So there's a big... I have to block this. There's some spam going on here. Okay. All right. So... yes, then there was those anvils. That's about the size of a Viking Age anvil. And how would you make them? You would first, they wouldn't have high quality steel like we would today. We use high quality steel in most of our tools. The face of my anvil is actually hardened steel. It's actually well big anvils used to be welded together in the big forge. That's why they had square holes on the side. You had where you could put a square bar in there to help lift it up with some kind of machinery or a whole bunch of guys. So that's how that used to be. And then they put it in the fire and actually forge it together, and then forge on the hardened surface, and then machine the edges when it was done. So it was perfect after it was on there. But today, that's they don't make anvils anymore. So it's an old. That's why they're so expensive. The good old anvils are gone. There's still anvil makers out there, but they're they don't make the real big ones. I have not died out yet. Okay, good. All right, and so the anvils were made in which you recovered bloom steel from the ground. I have lots of iron ore here at the Viking camp I discovered, which is so cool. I've been collecting the best quality on the side as I've been digging here, so that maybe sometime this summertime, I'm not sure when, but maybe sometime this year or not, I will try to make bloom steel myself. It's not a thing that I can do by myself because it's a 3 to 4 person job. And it takes like a whole day and a whole night. And probably a couple of days of building the steel. What do you call it? Where you melt the steel in. My words are not working today. Everett, welcome from New Mexico. You're building my chicken run and your chicken coop. Cool. Yeah, just be careful not to hurt your back. I know that's a big thing when you're working. Be careful. Hello, Bob. Well, yeah, my Viking camp here is originally, to tell you a little bit about the history, when I started my YouTube channel, I started making random sea chests and shields. That was kind of like what kickstarted all of this. And I wanted to do YouTube, and I really wasn't sure what, but it was the Viking Age and handcrafts, and so it kind of just started off that way. And I came up with the great idea. It's like, if this is going to be great, it needs to go in a different direction. I need to do something that nobody else on YouTube is doing. I need to buy a big piece of property, and I need to turn it into a Viking camp and just live there and do things like the Viking Age there and build a shop and have my little farm and animals and as close to the Viking Age as I can, while using it, of course, to sustain my own needs. Modern things, of course, you have the bees and the garden. It's not quite Viking Age inspired, but some of the aspects of it are testing and tuning some of the historic motifs and techniques. So that's kind of where the Viking Age, the Viking camp came from, and now it's on its 3rd year now, and it's amazing to see the transformation. It's just, I don't see it often. I'm always aggravated about. I look everywhere I look. Oh, there's a project there. There's a big pile of boards that just needs to go away because that's the restovers from this project. And then I put those boards somewhere, and then I see another, and I have to, and I start, I need I don't know, I need to do something here. And then I start that project. And so it's really, everywhere I look, there's a project, and it's never ending. And it's just me. Vanessa, she's a great help. But in the end, this is my battle. This is my dream, my goal. And I have to work for that really, really hard. So that's it wears me out quite often. I forget why I'm working here. Why am I doing this? And it costs me everything. This is costing me absolute everything I earn that I don't need to spend on necessities, fuel. This project is costing me everything. And my goal is to eventually grow this YouTube channel into a self-sufficient machine that helps to pay for all of this, which is great. That's my big goal. So, Nick, welcome. KP Heathen. Let me make a quick scroll up here to make sure I didn't miss anybody. We have Bob Head, Crucible or Smelter. It's actually called a Rennofen in German. It's a big clay tower that they melt with, or you put charcoal in, and you put all the iron ore in, and it melts to the bottom. I can't find the word for that. Bloomery, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I watched some of your videos there, Luke and Mom. I see you got a lot of projects going on. It's pretty neat. Oh, wow. It's so hot today, but I just had a nice breeze come in here. It's really nice. Really nice breeze. It's cold. not drinking any beer today because I'm not home. I still have to drive home. It's quite a distance to get to, so no stupid things. A bloomery, there we go. I thought I had some words. Sometimes it's like I know the word, but I know it in like 4 languages, so I can't remember the one I need now. It's like, oh my, yeah. So that's well, I thought I have something buzzing away over here. I have something really cool I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, so I'm crafting my own queens for my bee colonies. My hair is kind of unruly today. I actually put rubber bands back in it to keep it a little bit. My nose is keep it nice and neat so it doesn't fluff all over the place. Yeah, I gotta see what my little Viking family here is up to. I gotta watch. If you put videos out there, once in a while in my busy day, I'll take the time to go out there and see what everybody's up to. I missed something. Yeah, well, Vikings were always farmers. Down, point 1. Vikings were always farmers. Hello, Monkoko64, welcome. And that's how people just tend to forget that. You see too much TV shows. Vikings were always farmers. That was what you had. Everybody had to be able to farm, or at least sustain some kind of activity at a homestead. So that's. But farming was extremely difficult and sometimes not profitable because of the harshness of the land, or a terrible year, the weather. Something. I could see it here. We have a drought, or you have too much rain. That could just destroy your crops. No farming. So people had to go, and there was overpopulation in some places in some years, and that's why raiding was such a good solution. Send some people out looking for land was the main idea. And you find land with people on it. What do? Take what they have and go back home and report, hey, we found rich land with people, that have riches. It's not defended. And that's how that kind of all got started. Yeah, the weather is killing lately, but I am not going to complain because it's been raining all last year, and I'm very happy that we actually have a summer like summer. It's very pleasant. So I have a little surprise here I'd like to show you. I get distracted so easily. I've been working on my bees very intensively, getting them all set up. It looks like they're all doing very, very well this year. And I'm very excited that that's happening. I started off completely from scratch basically this year because all my bees died up down to 1 colony. And so that's all I had to work with. And I had to reacquire several different types of bloodlines. So I went and bought some bees basically from different sources from far away and started building my bee population back up on my own. So it's very summery in the Vaterland. Yeah. That's true. But it's nice. It's nice to have summer for a little bit. The winter was very depressing. It's been a hard couple of months, and so it's nice to see summertime at its best unfolding. Tuesday is actually a pagan holiday, a heathen holiday, or say if you want to celebrate it, a Viking holiday. It's actually the beginning of summer. I might do a little. And Vanessa comes home from so she'll be here on the 21st. I'll have to definitely make a big fire, and we'll celebrate in honor of all the things that are good. But here, let's I get just too distracted. So I have a little surprise for you guys. This right here. You can't see it. Maybe the light from the side is what probably. There is a queen cell in there with a couple of worker bees. Yeah, there's 2 little bees in there, but those little bees are taking care of that queen cell that's inside there. It's capped off so that when she hatches, you can't see this. This is actually a good web camera, but I got to be really careful with this. I don't knock this or drop it, or I got to be very careful I don't destroy this. So I'm going to set this aside. This is really cool. This is my first queen cell that I've crafted myself. It's the second try, and there were So what crafting is, you have the, I have to explain that so everybody understands how special that is. You have the frame with the bees. I don't have one. Ooh, they're angry now. Yeah, they'll have to be just fine. You have the frame with the bees. And then you have all the little cells. And the queen bee lays eggs in there, fertilized eggs, which become female worker bees. So in order for them to make a queen, the bees need to go into panic mode. They need to be hopelessly queenless is what that's called. They need to have their colony, the queen taken out, or you just basically put a bunch of bees in from a colony in a box with a bunch of brood frames, check them every second day until you see they keep making queens out of open brood. And you keep breaking those cells, removing those cells until all of the larvae have developed past the stage where they can no longer take any of those larvae and make a queen. And so then you have the opportunity to hang a frame in there where you hand pick all the little freshly hatched larvae. I can show you. I have all the tools right here. Pooh, Ralph. Who's scratching his ears? This is a old feather. And I made a little hook at the end. Yeah, it's an old-timer trick. This is old school right here. I still have to practice a little bit. They have this one I made. And then I have put everything away already. This Chinese piece of crap right here doesn't work. I don't like it, but it was worth a try. Then I have the Swiss tool. I like this one a lot better. So it's basically like a dentist tool, it looks like. Take it out of its package here so I can show you. Yeah, this is like looks like a dentist tool. It's got a little hook at the end there and a little shovel at the end. And you go in the cell and you very carefully extract the larva that's like microscopic. That's why I also have one of these magnifying things here. I don't like it. It doesn't work. I bought it and I was a little happy. Yeah, cool. The best thing to do is just sit down at a nice quiet place. And I had the spotlight that's over here shining nice, good light to us right now, right in from behind me. And I could see very nicely where those little larvae was without making a shadow when I went to go get them out of the cells. And it takes an extreme amount of practice. Now, this is on round 3 now. The first time I got no results. It didn't work. If you touch the larva one way, you kill them. If they're microscopic, they're like tiny. If you like touch them too hard one way or the other, you could damage them. And so, as Stellinger, welcome. You finally made it. Yeah, we're just having a little chat. This is actually a question and answer about blacksmith work, but we somehow got off track about a little bee queen right here. I'm just explaining how I did that. Oops. So, yeah, so this tool here is what you use, and you take the larva out and you put it in a custom fabrication here. There's like a little cap and these little cups here, and they fit on these yellow plugs. And then you have a rail that you had to glue the adapters on there, and they basically plastic queen cells, and then the bees will build wax around them. And when they cap them off, like this one, when they seal it up, that's when you put a couple bees in the. No, I have one now, do I? Yeah, right here. That's when you put this on there to keep when the queen hatches, she hatches inside this. It can't get out. You put a couple bees in there to take care of the queen. They can feed the queen through these vents here so that they don't starve. You can even open this up and put like a little bit of sugar paste in there so that they have food. And then you can install this you can basically build a new colony off of this, or replace one of your older queens for whatever reason. So this is really cool. Brand new experience for me. This is next level beekeeping for me. I haven't done this last year at all. And I still need lots of practice. So the first time around, a frame of about 20 bees. I didn't get one to work. So second time around, that one right there was my only one. So this time I did, instead of 20, I did about 45 or close to somewhere around under 50. I crafted about 50 larvae this morning in 2 frames, and now I'm really excited. I refreshed some of the bees in the box, and the mosquitoes here are eating me alive. I put some more bees in there. I think my main problem why it didn't work was not enough bees. Yeah, they were starting to get starting to thin out because there was no queen. They were starting to wear out and die, so I had to put some fresh bees in there. Yeah, Sean, bees are very interesting. Now it's a lot of self preppers and homesteaders and everything. The bees, but the reality of it all is that beekeeping is a superly intensive, costly, I would say, profession or hobby, whichever way you or asset. And if something were to happen with a supply chain of some kind, if you don't have 3 containers full of chemicals and materials to keep beeswax and frames and hives and all the medications you need for treating the mites and sugar water stored up or glucose syrup enough for 3 years stored up. Beekeeping. Did I miss a bee joke? Oh, I got that. That's one of my favorite little jokes too, Oreo. I didn't catch you. It's funny. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's a neat little pun there. But like say, beekeeping is not an asset to survival. It's more of a liability because of the intense costs and if something were to happen to your bees and they were to be wiped out because of chemicals, environmental issues, animals, or somebody would just steal them or knock them over or damage the bees and they were all to die, there would be no way for you to go and just get more bees. That's the problem. So it's a cool thing to have when you can sustain it, but it's definitely not a very good idea for. I mean, the honey will last 100 years if it's got the right concentration of moisture. If it's low enough, the honey will crystallize and last forever. I mean, not forever, ever, but like the Egyptian tombs, they found honey in there that was still, it was still edible. I don't know what the taste would have been like, but it was still safe to eat. It was just crystallized. And that's how you can tell you have good honey. You take it out of the cover, that's the real stuff when it turns into crystal honey after you let it set. That's the real good stuff. Untouched, unpasteurized, it's not thinned out with anything, and the moisture content is perfect. Yeah, it's like having a tiny animal farm with about 50,000 animals in it. That's about what that's like. And you have to really pay attention to kind of like make sure you kind of get the vibe of what's going on with all 50,000 by just taking a quick look through 10 frames. Excuse me, I got the sun coming in right through that makes me sneeze. Yeah, Egyptian honey. Wow. Yeah, the Egyptian knowledge too. I mean, what they knew back then. The bees at the Nile River currently, they say, are maybe the solution to some of the bee problems that we're having in the world today. Because those are some of the most resilient bees around. The Nile bee. You can take a look at that on the internet if you want. Research that. There's a lot of researchers going to the Nile River to question beekeepers and research the bees they have there because they're very resilient against disease and problems. And they're researching now if they should bring some of those bees to Europe or to the United States or any part of the world to solve some of the bee issues that we have, which is really interesting. Someone had stolen hives from someone, and the bees escaped from where they had been taken and headed straight home. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Bee hive theft is there's a big issue here in Germany as well. And it's mostly other beekeepers stealing other beekeepers' bees out of jealousy, which is ridiculously stupid. Yeah, I don't understand it, but I do have the constant thought in my mind that someone may try to come steal my bees one day. I have 6 cameras, and 2 of them are live feed to my phone. But that won't stop people from stealing, of course. You put on a mask and, if someone wants to do harm, they'll do it. There's no question. But Yeah, Orifolk, the Nile bee, it's one of the most ancient bloodlines of bee species that's kind of untouched from the rest of the world, and they're very productive, and you should probably take a look and see if it's interesting. There's a whole documentary on the internet that you can watch. Look at these stupid mosquitoes. They're biting me everywhere. Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm hoping that my grafting, the bee queens, will have a at least 50% rate, which would be good because I only have little tiny miniature tinfoil helmet after thieves. Yeah, I'll send the tinfoil helmet. I'll send Pooh Bear after the thieves. I'm a little worried about Pooh. Pooh, when he was out just earlier with me, he wouldn't poop earlier, and then when he pooped there, he had red blood. So I'm a little bit worried. So I just checked it now. He just pooped again, and it didn't seem to have any blood in it. So I just gave him a bunch of food with oil. I just oiled up his food with a bunch. I had hemp oil and different oil tinctures in there so that he can get some good laxative in there. I think he ate some of the wood chips, honestly. I think that's what the problem is. He eats all that stuff, and I have to smack him on the head if I catch him. That's why I don't want him to eat that. Ah, good question. Now, there's a very good question. We don't know anything about. We know for definitely sure Vikings had meat, so they had honey, and we don't know anything about how they got it. Nothing. The only information we have is that perhaps they kept bees because it's the closest thing. If we go 500 years to the future of the Viking Age, around 1500, we have documentations of bees being kept in what's called skleps, which are basically straw. Those straw that the beehive you see when you click on the little beehive icon emoticon, that's a bee sklep, and that's a straw, basically some straw bound into the shape there, and that's we contemplating that may have been the same technique the Vikings used to keep their bees, and perhaps some kind of clay form of aperture of some kind. Yeah, some kind of natural clay housing of some kind. There is absolutely no evidence of how Viking age people or Scandinavians or whatever you want to call it kept their bees. So it's all speculation. Play on words. Yeah, so it's all. My nose itches. Oh, thank you, Greg. The light, yes, I have the door open and the light is coming and it's perfect. Yeah, round straw hives. That's and people quit from using those today because they're very destructive. If you go to harvest honey, you basically almost kill your bees because you cut the comb out with a special knife, and you basically just you destroy a lot of the bees, the infrastructure. That's why a frame beehive is much more efficient. You can separate the honey super from the beehive and still leave the brood chamber untouched, so that the bees can recuperate from that that you just took all their honey. They can just make more. You didn't destroy their entire infrastructure by harvesting the honey, which is very important. It's very hot. Yeah, as soon as this battery goes out, I'm gonna have to go home and probably put ice cubes in the bathtub. Stay in there. I'll throw Pooh Bear in there with me. Yeah, it's basically one of a time use of the bees. Now the hive they wouldn't destroy. They just tilted up. The bottom end of it was open, and they had a special knife that you would go in there and just cut the comb out, and you would destroy the beehive, like the part where the bees built inside, and the bees would die, and you'd have to go find more bees. It's basically how that was, I guess. If I would live in the Viking Age, what the first thing I would do But everybody needs a roof over their head. That's real important. You need a roof over your head, and you need some way to defend it. You need something to eat. So I'd probably try to find some community that, as a free person, to be able to work there and integrate into their society, which would be probably a smart thing to do as a blacksmith or some kind of public. They built. It was a community effort to build things back then too, so they needed workers. Hot ice bath. Yeah, Monkoko 64. That was a very beautiful knife. You sent me a picture. I like that. That was pretty knife. Just take good care of it. It'll last you forever. Don't use it as a pry bar or a screwdriver or a throwing device. It should last you a very long time. Yeah, they probably did search. That's probably one of the main sources of medieval beekeepers' bee supply, is they went in the forest and they looked for bees. And actually, up until about 150 years ago, it was still popular to keep bees in the forest. Zeitlerei, it's more of an Eastern Bloc skill still. It's about the only place in Europe you can still learn this trade and research it. It's actually making a log hive for the bees. They're in a big, probably 6 foot tall log, and you hollow it out with a chainsaw, and you make it so you can hoist it up in a tree, 10, 15, 20 feet up on a little platform, and you tie it to the tree. You're simulating the most optimal beehive there is, the most natural way the bees could be kept there is, by keeping them in their natural habitat in a hollowed out log at a height where moisture and temperature regulate themselves through the wood. And that's the perfect way actually to keep bees. But it's a skill that has long been forgotten in most of the world, except some of the Eastern Bloc countries, which is still like Poland. There's actual teachers, professionals that'll teach. Zeitlerei is the actual German name for that way of keeping bees, that skill. It's really cool. Okay, Dutch line prepping. Go take your doggies for a walk. We'll see you later. Yeah, in Africa, I believe they do that too, but I am not too familiar on how they do that in Africa. I haven't seen it. The African bees are a complete new world for themselves. Now, if you've ever heard the term killer bees, a lot of parts of Africa and South America, they have these types of species of killer bees. There's several species of them. They're not much different than the Carnica or the Linguista or the typical dark honeybee that used to be native to Europe and parts of Scandinavia here. But the only difference is that they're super aggressive. So instead of, see the bees here, this type of bee that I have here, that's a Carnica. That's a specific species that's bred for their calmness and their productivity. And they're from the Balkan area of Europe, somewhere around the, was it not Czech Republic? I have to look it up. But they're from the Balkan area, and they've been introduced to Europe around World War II era because of their productivity was greater than the bee from the natural bee, and it basically almost rotted out the entire natural bee population, which was the dark honeybee. Croatia, there we go. That's the word I was looking for. Croatian area there. Now the killer bees, the difference is that they're not physically much different than these bees, but when they attack, if you were to open the hive here, a single bee or two would come flying out. They'll be all, you'll have about a dozen bees flying around. Now a killer bee colony, you open the hive, and the entire bee swarm will attack you, and they will hunt you down as you run away, and they will sting you thousands of times. That's why they're called killer bees, because It's not that the bee itself is different. It's just that they're so aggressive, and they hunt you down, and they do not let loose, and they sting you. One bee will sting you once, and it'll die. But these bees will hunt you down, and 50,000 bees will sting you, and you'll die of that. That's why that's called killer bees. If in a survival situation, I probably wouldn't touch bees. Unless I had some kind of very intricate way of probably getting them out of the tree, cultivating them, in a little area on my own. But the problem is, like I said before, even if you have those resources to somehow keep the bees, you can keep bees in a shoebox. They'll be fine if you keep them out of the weather. But the varroa mite they'll get, there's no question about it, will decimate your bee colony without proper chemical treatment to the bees to keep the mite population down to a minimum. Yeah, very angry Viking bees. Yeah, it's real fun. Yeah, they will wait too. They'll sit at the top. They'll wait till you come back up. Sean, hornets. Yeah, but it's not a problem. I do see it all the time. I do when I have and they wait too. They know open bee colony. They can smell the honey. It's a magnet for all kinds of bugs. But now it's not as bad as it is in some places. But I do see hornets fly through the air and catch bees in midair and bite their heads off and fly off. It's not a big problem. It only 1 or 2 bees here or there, and they have to survive as well. And there's not that many here, so it's not a big problem. An RC car, okay. Some creative thoughts there. Yeah, the hornets actually eat the bees. They're a very carnivorous type of insect. They eat the bees for protein, and they try to find bees that have just freshly came back from collecting up nectar. So that's a real sweet taste too. They eat that as well. They eat the whole, the best parts. And if you have like a deer head or something you find like a roadkill and you want to clean the bones, the best place to put that is either in an anthill, dig a little hole very gently on top so you don't disrupt too much of the ant population. And I always would, like, through the eye socket or somewhere, tie some wire, and I would put a stake in the ground in case the fox comes by. And I would bury it in the anthill. Or if you can find a hornet's nest, if you know where there is one, hang it up in the air on a string in an immediate location of the hornet's nest and come back in like 3 days. It'll be picked clean to the bone. And the only thing with the hornets, though, is they'll leave little tiny teeth marks on the bone. They have really sharp, disgusting little mandibles. Chocolate covered bees. Okay, I've never tried that, and I don't think that's something that I'd like to eat. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the YouTube channel is actually doing quite well. I haven't been posting much lately. I really am behind on that. I've been working so hard on the outside around the shop. I actually am finished now with the rainwater project. I finished that just 2 days ago, and I'm taking a little bit of a relax break, stressing out at all the other projects that have created while I was doing this one. The Bobcat has a continuous flat tire. Every time I patch it, there's still a leak somewhere, so it's very frustrating. I have to deal with that again tomorrow. And yeah, as ants and grasshoppers. Grasshoppers, I don't know so much, but ants I know. Yeah, so I have an IBC water tank hiding. It's back behind the building here, so it's not in the the Viking Age scenery. The shop here isn't quite Viking Age, but it fits in with the with the roundhouse and the theme of things. So and. I finally got now it's supposed to rain tomorrow, and I'm so excited to see how much rain I can collect off of a single rain, because I know it's going to be quite a bit more than I expect. Because when I had the ditch that I dug, I had to dig a ditch by hand, because all of the red sand was flooding into the workshop the first rain I had, and it was terrible. I had all this red sludge, and I had to hand remove it, and it was disgusting. So, and then I took a bucket and I emptied the ditch. I had 200 liters of water in that little ditch. I was like, man, that's like a quarter of a IBC tank. So it was really, really interesting. So I was like, I need to hurry. And that's when I had to take the Bobcat all the way around the building, basically almost to the other end. Well, it was a lot of dirt to move, which also gave me the opportunity to fill up across on the other side of the roundhouse where there was a fence. I took that down, and I made a large plateau, and now the entire Viking camp is like a ring wall, which is so cool. I didn't notice that until I got done. I was like, look what I just did. It's awesome. I fortified this place. I put a high ground here, and I have a high ground over there, and there's an entrance in the middle where I could put a gate. So it's really, really, really cool. Let me see what I missed on here while I was chatting away here. Candles, actual ants and grasshoppers. Yeah, the hornets, they come get some of the wood because they use that they digest it and make a paste out of it for their nest. Yeah, this is acting up again. I can't get this done. Okay, what we got here? Oh, here we go. What is going on here? Sultanar, welcome. Things are doing pretty well. I am very, very busy with the Viking camp and with my bees. I've been doing a lot of work. And it's coming together quite nice. It's been quite a while since I've been actively on YouTube, but it's coming back together now. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes and around so that the infrastructure up here could finally come together. I'm trying to save up some money. I'd like to put solar power on the roof so that we can have full 220 electricity in here, which means I can keep this laptop plugged in as long as we want to stay online. We can be live for 2 or 3, 4 hours if we want, and have full high-speed internet. I could bring that here if I get electricity. Now, the only thing is, that's like $2,500. And I don't have that right now because I spent every single penny I have getting this project where it is now. So I need to make some money. That's going to be a bumpy ride. All right, Arif, well, thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great day at work tomorrow. So stay safe, and I hope to see you very soon. Don't work too hard in the heat. Let's go. Ugh, so hot. That tastes like that. When it gets all the bubbles out. Blah. Yeah, so what do we got going on today? So tomorrow I have some nice things I'd like to work on outside the Viking camp. I have another small project over behind here. I'm putting up a rack. We can do a 10-hour live stream. That'd be great. But I got to get that solar first and the electricity set up so that we have power. Like on a day like today, I'd have unlimited electricity because the sun is just blasting. I mean, those batteries would be on fire. Yeah, I'm sure eventually those funds and those finances will acquire themselves, but it's going to be a bit because I'm still paying for some of the stuff here, and I have to put about $1,000 into the Bobcat to make it proper function again, and some things. I'm not quite done with some of the other things, but the bees are costing me quite a pretty penny, and yeah, we need to buy a second van. So those things are those like priorities. But this would be cool to have solar power on the roof. I have water now behind here. Now the next big project is going to be the solar. So I've been able to dig around the outside. In my digging, I do have iron ore here at the Viking camp here. I have iron ore. I know that for sure because I took samples of it, and it's like big, heavy black sandstones. You break them open, and they're completely black inside. Versus the regular sandstones, there's red sand. Open them, they're red sand. I have iron ore sandstones. I run the metal detector over them, and it goes off like New Year's fireworks. So that's a good sign. I've been putting the high quality iron ore to the side for smelting in the future. And I also have jasper here, which I hunt this down every time I walk across the red sand. I find a piece. And I've learned now through being a little bit of a hobby geologist and wannabe paleontologist in my younger days, and who knows what else. I've learned a little bit about geology and stones and minerals. And so I was out there digging where I find a big piece of sandstone, and there's another piece of sandstone. There between that's where you're going to find the jasper. That's where thousands of years ago there were mineralized underground water veins running through those cracks in the ground, and under pressure and under time can form those minerals and form those jasper rocks. So then I knew where to look for them specifically, because I was randomly finding them in places until I started to hand pick with an axe and a pickaxe to see if I could find them. And that's where I was finding the jasper between the sandstones. So I started looking for that. That's one of the really cool things that I've been finding. And one of the other really cool things is that I have these massive boulders, and they're huge. There's a massive boulder you couldn't lift with 5 people. I had a real hard time trying to get it out with the Bobcat as well. It wouldn't move, so I had to dig it up completely free, and then just like tilt it with the bucket, just kind of like rock it until it came out of the hill, and I had to scoop it up and balance it on the shovel. And the Bobcat was doing like a bouncy thing. I was like, man, this thing is heavy, and so I put it over here. I'm going to make it's got like a dish to it, so that's going to be my sacrificial stone, my Blutstein. Yeah, for my it's going to be more of a decorational thing. But I want to put it over there by my dog's grave, and I have so many nice stones. I'm going to make a nice little thing there and put lots of lanterns and put my figures up there so that the Viking gods will watch over my dog. I have Thor and Odin, and that'd be really cool. Just sand. Well, I bet if you dig in the right place, you have to find out the right altitude you're at, and go and find a place where the layers of the earth interact, where you're below the altitude of you're below the layer of earth that you're on right there, and then you'll start to find some different rocks. But it really depends. If you got nothing but humus soil, you're gonna have to dig quite a bit to get to some kind of lower level of sand or difference. And the geology may be completely different. I don't know what kind of geology you might have there. Speaking of rocks and stuff, if you have a little stream or river there near your forest, it may be cool to go out and see if there's any gold in it. That's as most of you might know. I also, I like to go out and hunt for gold in the summer. I'm an avid hobby prospector as well. Not that you get rich from it, but you also find nice rocks, and the sound of the rushing water while you're just doing nothing but sitting next to it concentrating on the sand and the sounds going on. It's an absolute healing experience. It's a very relaxing, and I just enjoy it a lot. And so hopefully, I have a little jar of concentrate. That's what you get when you work all day and you refine everything down to where it's got all your material in it that has gold in it. In Germany, now we don't have gold like in the rest of the world, like big nuggets or there's places where that's been found, but there's no specific high concentration here. We have it's like a gold dust, and it's everywhere. I mean, gold is everywhere. It's just how much time you want to spend on something versus the outcome. That's always the question of where you should go to look for it. That's why you should do some testing, test pans, hop up and down the river, look on the Google Maps to find places where it could be lucrative to drive to and take a test sample. Oh, wow, that's awesome. I have a very nasty fly flying around here. Yeah, my dog, he was my best friend. And I felt like I buried 20 years of my life in that hole. It's just, I'm not the same person. Getting up in the morning, it's like I feel like I'm 100 years old ever since that happened. So I'm hoping that'll go away someday. And that's why he's up. He's on the highest point. You can see it all. And I'm going to make a nice spot for him. So that's, he deserves that. Hear a noise. That's crickets. Okay. Oh, in Montana, you have an actual spot? That's pretty cool. Yeah, you get all your gear all set up and go have a great outdoor adventure. Okay, am I missing here? Okay, yes. The coolest thing I've found here, I have a little creek that runs down right below the Viking camp, and right now it's dry because of the heat. And the coolest thing I find nice gemstones. I find because this is a very high World War II concentrated area. I find a lot of World War II restovers in the rivers and lakes here. And the coolest thing I found right down here below in the stream was a piece of algamon. It's mercury attached to gold, which is kind of scary. Is where's this mercury coming from? But it's mercury's natural occurring material as well, and we have mountains here, so that's and we have a mercury mine about an hour from here, so it occurs in nature naturally. And it's very interesting. I have a piece of amalgam. That's what it was, with gold attached to it, which is the way that the old timers used to retrieve gold is through, and they still do it in Africa, which is really bad because it really pollutes the water, and mercury is disgusting for it. It's really almost impossible to get out of the environment once it's contaminated something because it's so, the characteristics of it are so difficult. Gold Creek, that's a good spot to go look. Especially because if you had a lot of flooding in that year, there's going to be a lot of fresh gold in some of the good spots. Yeah, in the land of the gods now. Well, it's mostly things you don't want. Like there's ammunitions and stuff that kind of come out of the river. It's just like, I don't want this. Oh, what's this? I don't want that. Oh. But I have there's a procedure for reporting that, so that's usually not a problem in most cases. I was so tempted today to pack up the metal detector and come up here and do some testing on this new soil that I've just unearthed. I may do that tomorrow morning, actually. Yeah, when there's floods, that's right after the flood is the best time to go. The fresh gold deposits there, and you can usually, find some nice gold. I like to watch. There's a channel on YouTube. It's Vogus Prospecting. It's in Australia. Really cool channel. That's all he does is he's like a hobby prospector. Him and his friend goes out and they'll look at all the places and they work really hard. And they find some nice gold. And once in a while, I like to watch that channel. It's one of my favorite ones. They do a lot of river, alluvial gold, placer gold mining. Another thing I did with the bees today was I replaced the bee colony in the show box. They ran out of every possible solution they had to build a queen. And so they were basically doomed. I gave them 2 queen cells and they ate them. I don't know what was wrong with these cannibalized bees, but they didn't let them hatch. And then I looked and they had secretly made another queen cell on the back. So I was like, oh, maybe they have hope. I think it's kind of late for that now. The cycles of all the larvae has evolved past the stages. And then a week later, I look and they ate that too. So I'm like, So what I did was when I took the frame out of the bees that I crafted all the larvae from, there was more than plenty on that frame for those bees that were left to build a new queen from, a nice queen from a small larva. Actually, from when there's a couple of eggs on that too. So bees are cannibals in the first place. These people don't know that. So I put that in there, and now I'm going to go and see what they're up to here in a minute. When I get off the live stream, I'm going to take a nice stroll through, maybe take the camera, do some filming. We'll see. Maybe I'll film the bees, but as long as it doesn't get too dark. I got little Pooh over there. Pooh. 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 I shaved his hair all off. Pooh, you want to come say hello? It's going to knock the table over now. What's in your home? Ups. Pooh. Pooh. Ups. There he is. Now fine. Hello, Wyodino. Welcome. I've got little Pooh Bear giving me thousands of kisses. Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. And I just shaved off all his hair. Like he's like a Labrador now. That's what he feels like. He had German wire hair. He had the wiriest hair, like real wire hairs. Now he's got like Labrador fur. So, geh zurück. Geh runter. Runter. Zurück. Zurück. Geh zurück. Das ist fein. Das ist fein. Bisschen. That's fine, yeah. Yeah. My little friend. Kleiner Pooh. Bist du mein Freund? Kleiner Freund. He's gotten fat. Kleiner Specki. You're a kleiner Specki? He likes to eat. You look good, everybody says. Everybody. Oh, is that a tick? Oh, hold still. Still. There's a tick. Ew. Pooh. There's a tick. Already bit him because it's dead. Pooh's got a medication. When the ticks bite him, they dry up and die. Yeah, fine. But I do try to remove him. He had one on his eyelid, like right on his eyelid the other day. Ja, du bist fein, Pooh. Du musst dein Wasser saufen. Okay, geh mal. Platz. Yeah, so it's good boy. I just thought I'd call him over, show him off on the camera, say hello. Yeah. Hello. He's like, what? Send you away and then you call me back. It's cooling down. The sun must be over the trees now. It's actually, you could just feel the temperature drop. So nice. Yeah, it's a big problem with ticks here lately. I don't know. But I made sure he's got every 3 months he gets like a little chewing tablet, and he takes those pretty well. So it's either that or the stuff that goes in the fur. I had with Gonzo, I had to watch because he was always had with his digestion. I had to watch out what he eats. So he got. Oh, Bob is leaving. Okay, you got places to be. All right, Bob. Thank you for tuning in. See you later. Stay safe and good luck at whatever you're doing. Well, they're probably in your forest. You just haven't been, gotten any of them yet. So you're lucky. And there's some things that you can use to repel the ticks. There's some natural plants that grow. They're slightly toxic. You don't eat them, of course. They have esoteric oils in them. I can't pronounce that. And you just rub them on your hands, and then you rub all over your clothes, and it keeps the bugs away from you, mosquitoes as well. And if you dry it, then you can put it like in a little bit of incense and smoke the surrounding area out a little bit, and all the bugs will disappear magically. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to get that solar on the roof, and then possibly bring my Skylink up here and hook it up, and then we can go online. We can be live 24 hours. Dig in the wet dirt. Well, I think it's a little bit easier to dig wet dirt than to dig stone rock. The red sand I have up here, once that dries, it's like cement. You can't get the shovel down in the earth at all. I did a lot of work yesterday with all the willow cuttings that I was speaking of. I have to put water in that tank. I have these 10-foot tall willows that are cuttings. That's how you can really, willows rule because you can really grow them very fast and get a lot of nice things made out of them. And I'm so excited that in September I get to go cut a whole bunch of these willows. And I'm going to cut them all. I'm going to cut the branches down. I'm going to cut them down on the tree stumps so they grow fresh stumps again. And I got permission from the Burgermeister and from the Environmental Protection Agency to go prune these trees to protect them from damage. Because these are special trees that were raised back in the 30s and the 40s to weave baskets. And they've been neglected. And now they're just wildly growing. If they grow out of control, those trees will die because they'll dry out and break off. And so they're kind of like under protection, but no one's paying attention to them. And I volunteered to go and take care of. There's like 3 dozen, it's probably about 100 trees. If I'm thinking of how I'm looking at the landscape there, it's probably about 100 trees that I have to prune. But I get all those willow branches for free. I just have to go get them and take care of these trees. So that's going to be very exciting in September. Looking forward to that. But I'm not going to wish the time away. I know it's going to come around the corner faster than I wish. But it's on my books for September. And that'll rule because then I can have a ton of real cool projects going on. And probably a ton of really cool new willows that I'll be growing for future, for reproducing those awesome trees. Yeah, exactly, Luke and Mum. When it's wet, there's no dust, and that's also really good. Okay, lemon. Yeah, there's a bunch of different mosquito remedies, I believe. Yeah, I just can't get it out of my mind. Having a solar on this roof would be awesome. I could live up here. The only thing I really, really need to get up here to live here, or to actually not have to run home every couple of hours, is a bathroom, like a modern day quality with a flushing toilet kind of a bathroom. And I think I'm going to save up for that before I buy this solar. And there's room to put that down there somewhere in the parking area where I can have someone come service it once a month with a truck or whatever it needs to be done. I just need to look at how much it is and invest in that before I invest in solar on the roof. Unless I do it all at one time again, if I come up with like some 10,000 money. We'll see. I'm probably going to end the stream a little bit because it's, I don't know if anybody can't tune into a topic here, then probably we'll have to see how much battery life do I have left here. It also says I got about 47 minutes left, so we'll see. We'll see how long we can hold out until the battery dies like last time. Yeah, the see you later, Monkoko. The channel is doing very well with the watch time. I was surprised it's holding out actually, and it's actually going up for some odd reason. The watch time is climbing even though I'm not posting videos, which is really odd. And I'm losing subscribers. So it's like, how's that mathematically possible? I don't know, but yeah, an outhouse would be one solution, but I don't like spiders crawling around me while I'm trying to sit there and, you know. Yeah, a porta, like a camping toilet would be something, you know, like to be able to just not have to run home every couple hours. That's a very great convenience to be able to do that. And something that's not in the sun constantly, which would be down in the parking lot. You know, I can actually not worry about the bicycle cyclists driving through the forest, off-roading, and discovering this place. I just sit in there and lock the door. There's a big sign down there too. Spiders are our friends, but I don't like them crawling all over me while I'm trying to poop. Greg, we don't have snakes as in like the United States. We have maybe 2 species of snakes here in Germany that are poisonous but not lethal. Lethal. And we do have snakes though, but they're not They're not that. You can't lift a rock up and expect to see a snake. They're very rare. And we have legless lizards too. I call them Blindschleiche in German. And everybody keeps thinking when they see one of those, it's a snake. But Blindschleiche are super cool, and they're super rare. And I try to protect them when I see them. I usually grab them and I put them somewhere really safe where they're not going to get stepped on or the sun won't boil them down. Or find a thick bush. Yeah, I could do that. Then I'll have like 20 ticks on my butt. That's not cool. The wine I have to every day. The watering it's just insane how much water I have to drag up here to water these grapevines. But I hope they'll survive. They're fighting. I can see that some of the leaves are nice, which tells me that it's still alive. But every day I see a couple more that are dried out, and it makes me a little bit nervous that I did all that hard work for nothing. So I hope I can maintain by watering. My nose itches. There's a lot of boogers. I hope I can maintain to water these twice a day for the next couple weeks, and so that they grow roots. Yeah, you have to ignore the hornets. That's when I used to hunt here a lot. We had hornets in some of the seats, and you'd go in there at night, and you wouldn't see them, and you'd be sitting there, and you'd hear chewing. I was like, what's that gnawing noise? It sounds like someone's chewing on my bench, and you're sitting on it, and you can feel it in the bench, and you look down there, and there's a huge hornet nest, and you're like, oh crap! You just shine the flashlight, and they're all like, and they all look at you like, hi. You just turn the light off. Don't move. It's really, really weird. I think it's nap time now for bees. New messages. What we got here? Less dust is good. Yes. No snakes. Yeah. Watering that. What else is new here? Finding a lot of rocks, real pretty rocks. I went to a little I was kind of a special guest yesterday at a Viking party. It's pretty cool. We had axe throwing and archery, and there's a chef cook that did some Landsknecht cooking. It's quite interesting. I was left Pooh Bear at home for a couple of hours, which was a terrible mistake, but I had no choice. I came home and the house was destroyed. Yeah. So I'm trying to contemplate now whether or not I should build what I should do with the plateau over there. I would like to make this drive-through area here so I can have like a drive around so I can haul trailers through here. Vanessa is arguing with me. She said, you don't need a road everywhere through possibly the whole forest. I was like, yes, I do. I'd like to get the firewood up there. I'm not carrying it down by hand. I want to go up there with the trailer. So we have this argument going on. And I think I'm going to figure out now tomorrow, the plan for tomorrow will be to figure out the drive around route. That means I may have to shorten the roof just by a little bit there, but I'm not quite sure. We have a normal dirt back in the forest where we're digging. It's like lake sand mixed with volcano ash. Oh, that's really cool sand. I would probably try to pan that out, actually. Oh, S. Dellinger, yeah, no problem. Anytime I see something new on YouTube, like a really cool channel that does something Viking Age, I'll usually shout out to the community and say, hey, check this out. And it's really hard being on YouTube and doing what you do and getting out there. And because it's such an alternative topic, it really is. Viking Age reenactment is popular, but to be a YouTuber that, as a YouTuber, it's a very alternative topic, and it's extremely hard to create an existing platform with followers that will actually follow you through whatever it is you're doing that's related to the Viking Age. It's very difficult because of a lot of the misconceptions of Hollywood, of fiction, and Marvel comics. Makes people look at you, but these people have all these bright colored clothes on. Where's all the leather and all the action and all the blood and gore? Yeah, it's not happening. This is the real deal, and that's why it's very difficult. And I find a really cool channel. I'll share it with you guys. You can check that out. Leave a post and give it a little bit of support in that direction. That will help out somebody trying to grow and share their Viking content. That's what's this? Okay, I'm getting notifications here. This thing kind of slow. I may buy a new laptop, maybe a little bit faster one. Who knows? I will get one used though. I'm not going to buy a $2,000 laptop to drag around with me. And we see sparkles shining in the ground. Well, sparkles shining in the ground, a lot of times that'll be silica. It'll look like gold, or it's like these little flakes that glitter. You'll see that a lot. It's silica. It's what makes up most of the glass, basically, in so what you want to do is get a bunch of it, pan it out, and then get a magnet, put a plastic bag, put your magnet in a plastic bag, so if it does attract any magnetic particles, it doesn't stick to the magnet directly. You can then just inside out pull the plastic bag off, and you have all your magnetic sand, and then pan the rest, and then you'll see what's in the pan. And just do a test sample. Just go get like a nice shovel of it and pan it out in a tub with a little bit of soapy water or some jet dry. Yeah, Greg, it is interesting to explore because there also is a lot of questions left open about the Viking Age, and archaeology and science can't put an answer to directly, and there's possibly many solutions for a question, many answers to a question. The only way to find out is to try them all out and say, this is the most plausible answer. This is practical. This is easy. The way I did this was very, the materials I used were materials at hand during the Viking Age. The tools I used were tools used during the Viking Age. And the result I came up with was very plausible. It's something that the Viking Age craftsmen would have also came up with. And to the thing also is that because we didn't find it, see, it doesn't mean that it didn't exist like that. That's you can't tell me that a society as advanced as the Vikings did not have creative ideas. It's just that a lot of artifacts and materials have decayed, been lost, or have not yet been discovered from that time period. That's why we know so little. So a lot is open for interpretation. Fool's gold will actually, a lot of it's actually an iron pyrite. So it's some of it's actually magnetic, and you can get it out real easily with a nice strong iridium magnet. So that's why the magnet test would be very critical to see, to get some of that material out. And a lot of the fool's gold will definitely be different from the gold in its density, although it'll be in the pan with gold. Its its crystalline form will give itself away alongside with gold. I've seen some really tough pans where you can see a nice thin line of gold, and then on the upper hand of where the other heavies are in the pan, you'll have pyrite. And it's like, this place is terrible. I'm not coming back to this place. Yeah, like the belts, exactly. The belt discussion. I don't think I have my Viking belt with me. I brought my tunic, but I didn't. It's too hot. I have a wide belt because I carry a whole bunch of stuff on there, and it's only about this wide. Viking Age belts commonly were 1 centimeter or so, and mine's probably about 2 centimeters. I carry a lot of stuff on my belt. I'd like to have a nice belt, and I would say, to interpret it in this manner, that they traveled the world and they brought back all kinds of things from all kinds of cultures, all kinds of habits, and all kinds of cultural influences, all kinds of crafts and trades. They influences on their crafts and trades. They learn new things, new materials, and therefore there should be also thought about, why not come back with the idea, or why not just have it possible for someone to say, hey, I want a wider belt than that guy, because fashion, just like it is today, back then was a thing. Vikings like to dress in the most fanciest, nicest, cleanest clothes that they could possibly afford. And that's why I think that it's quite possible that to interpret something like a belt to be different widths would be very possible to have found or to have had during the Viking Age, because everybody wanted to have that most excellent dress concept, and to have a belt that's different than everybody else, that's better, that holds more weight, it looks more of a stature symbol. I think it's very, very plausible that something like that would have been been around. The same with the hair, the haircuts. So that we know that the Vikings had long hair. That's all we know from cultural documentations of other cultures. We don't know what the haircut was or how they cut their hair with what styles, but it's here's weird noise. So also, yeah, the haircut thing is that they traveled the world. What leads them to believe that they stuck with one haircut? I mean, as long as it's long hair, it's long hair. I mean, this is more of a Northern American, Native American hairstyle that I have here than a Viking age. It just became popular from the TV series, and it's one of those misconnections that's Viking age. It's just, I'd say it's modern Viking haircut, because that's the kind of, like everything, styles change and fashion moves on and new things come about and old things change. And so I think it's kind of a modern Viking haircut. That would probably be the best description. From India, yes. They showed it from India. There were gemstones found in India. And if you do, they just did a couple years ago, they did a DNA research. Saw something weird on my door. They did DNA research and found that in China. Now, this DNA research was not related to the Scandinavian. The theme was just to see where in China people's bloodlines, what kind of history the Chinese people's bloodlines have, out of just random research. And out of great surprise, a repetitive percentage. It wasn't like 10%, but it was a repetitive percentage out of like 1,000 people. There was like 1 or 2%, 3% consistent Scandinavian bloodline. So that led our Pooh? Pooh? I was okay. You okay, Pooh? It's okay. Pooh was doing some weird stuff while he's sleeping. Yeah, so that leads us to the fact that the Vikings were all the way out in China. China, sound like Trump. China. Can't even say it like him. But yeah, that was very interesting. That's a very, they sailed to North America, South America. They sailed to, I'm sure they were all the way around the world. And I'm really, really sure that they came down here, South Germany. But there's no evidence for that yet. They've sailed down to Germany for sure. The Deutsche Eck, where Rhine and Mosel and Nahe meet at the Deutsche Eck. The Vikings were proven to have sailed there. If they have sailed there, the rivers and streams were 2 meters higher. The water was 2 meters higher 1,000 years ago than it was today. The climate was much warmer than it was 1,000 years ago than it was today. Don't tell that to anybody. They won't believe you. And you may be called a conspiracy theorist, but as actual the facts. And so that they was probably even was able to sail down all the way down to Middle or South Germany, as a matter of fact, and maybe settle here or move on to the east somehow. Yeah, gemstones have always been valued in all cultures. That's absolutely true. As even all the way back to the Stone Age. Now, the Stone Age is another great topic, because the Stone Age, we think of the Stone Age as our primitive ancestors. But as a matter of fact, we're now discovering more and more that our primitive ancestors were quite technologically and socially very advanced. And it's a shocking level of intelligence and social structures that have already been proven to exist at the beginning of our civilization. Oh, we have something going on here. So the battery just decided to say it's going to die. Okay, so, all right. I'd like to wrap up this live stream. I'm going to read all these messages here. Cool. Stop licking your paws. Hey, that's porches lucha. Yo. Yeah, CO2 emissions. Yeah, all the Vikings eating too much meat. Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap up this live stream. The battery on the laptop is telling me it's time to go home. It's been a nice 1.5 hours. Wow, that's quick. Time goes by when you're having fun. This great community here we got, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys every time. It's always a blast. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, maybe next time we get some more people in here. And maybe tomorrow, we'll see what tomorrow brings. I have to do a lot of work tomorrow. Fix the Bobcat tire problem and do a little bit of earthwork over here just to get continued on that. And they said tomorrow it's supposed to rain, which would be cool for a day or two. I can accept some rain. I'm at the point now where I'm no longer like, if it rains, I can't work. The Bobcat will sink. It can sink now. I'm not going to be doing any more massive digging. Okay, let me read this message here, and then we're going to... What is this going on here? Okay. All right. I can no longer read this message. The screen is getting darker. Okay. Well, at this point, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing, ringing the bell, and clicking all notifications. That way you will not miss out on any more cool topics or live streams when I go and post new content. And you won't miss Pooh Bear when he does something silly as well. He's trying to get into some trouble here. I have to watch what he's doing. So that being said, everybody, read what you got there. All right, everybody, stay safe. Yeah, S. Dellinger, no problem. I usually try to announce my live streams, but this one was kind of just, just felt like it being here right now. And so it's really good that you guys all tuned in and that you got to make it for this one. So, all right, everybody. Nice chat with you. Stay safe and see you soon.